Hi, I'm Ira Kalish, Chief Global Economist for Deloitte, and I'm speaking to you today from Tokyo, Japan. The biggest thing going on in the global economy right now, aside from tariffs and changing immigration policy and changing central bank policy, is generative AI. Now, while we expect it to have a big impact in the long term in terms of labor productivity and economic growth, in the short term, it's already having a significant economic impact. In my home country of the US, investment in generative AI accounted for 90% of real GDP growth in the first half of this year. That investment and the impact it's had on the equity prices of technology companies has already fueled the frothy equity price that we're seeing in the US markets. And investment in AI is also generating a huge increase in the demand for electricity, causing a big increase in electricity prices in some places. But one of the things we're starting to see, which I didn't expect to see for a longer period of time, is some disruption of labor markets, and especially, again, in my home country of the US, which is where a lot of this investment is taking place. So what we're seeing is that traditionally, the unemployment rate among young college graduates is relatively low compared to other cohorts, and it's still relatively low, but it's not nearly as low relative to other cohorts as is usually the case. Evidently, young college graduates are having trouble getting work. Moreover, there's also evidence that some companies are starting to dismiss in large numbers young college graduates, particularly because of their being replaced by generative AI. So what's becoming clear, and there is still some debate about this, is that the investment in generative AI is causing some disruption in the labor market and creating problems for young college graduates in terms of getting work. Now, this has significant implications. What does it mean in terms of the development of human capital in large organizations? If companies aren't hiring young people at the start of their careers and developing them over a long period of time, how will they develop senior people to lead the organization in the future? This is one of the questions which we have to ask. Another question is, if generative AI is replacing people, what should young people be studying to make themselves competitive in the labor market? For a long time, there was a lot of talk about people studying STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. But now it's clear that Gen AI can do a lot of those STEM tasks. So in that case, maybe young people should be studying things that enable them to become leaders, to show empathy for other people, to manage other people, to communicate well with other people. And that might mean studying literature, history, psychology, and things that are related to that. So clearly, what we're already starting to see is that investment in generative AI is having multiple impacts on at least the US economy and potentially the global economy. I'll see you next time.